Welcome to Section 1. What is your current co-parenting status? Of course, if you are participating in this program, like we've said before, odds are things are not so great with your fellow co-parent. So let's first get a lay of the land before we begin so we can learn how to better manage it. I want you to ponder these questions in this section. What has been your experience, your former partner experience, and your child's or children's experience of the high conflict that surrounds you? What would be the benefits of reducing this conflict for you, the other parent, and the children? Who, most importantly, will it be that initiates this important change? Now let's stay on track. Let's galvanize your thoughts toward the positive and imagine a life without conflict with your former partner. What would that life be like? All right, now what I want to do is compare that image of zero to minimal conflict to what you have experienced in maintaining and living with high conflict with your former partner. I'm sure it's taken a major toll on you and every family member, to include in-laws, extended family members, the family pets, your children, neighbors, all of the people that you're in contact with, and probably work as well. So let's discuss some typical experiences for parents that find themselves in this high conflict dynamic during separation or divorce, or even after many years following divorce. So the first scenario, expending a lot of time and energy, sometimes daily, dealing with conflict regarding the breakup as well as co-parenting the children. These parents are inundated by phone calls, emails, and texts that seem to never resolve anything. They also hear from their children and other people in the community how they are bad or defective based on information shared by the other parent. How about working hard to decrease or eliminate the conflict with no effect to minimal effect? This often occurs when one parent has healed while the other has not, or the other continues to be mired and hurt. Some parents are so wounded that there is nothing you can do in the immediate time that will change their behavior. Thus, in this scenario, you must have to have the long view. Repeating the same arguments again and again is another scenario. As described above, interactions with each other are fruitless because unresolved conflict related to the relationship gets recast in the co-parenting relationship over and over again. How about pursuing court action to resolve your conflicts with little effect or even new conflict arising out of thin air? Just imagine all the money that gets spent. And imagine how much money you've spent thus far, either in your separation, divorce, or thereafter. So together or separately, conflict is left unresolved that just perpetuates the cycle, and around we go. What I want to do next is reflect upon your children's typical experience when you, or hypothetically other children, when their parents have a high conflict relationship. As you review these typical situations, I want you to also reflect on how both parents will typically report the same level of difficulty with these situations. However, each parent will blame the other as the cause of the conflict. So let's look at ongoing conflict. Here children may feel unsafe with either parent and begin to have psychological symptoms, such as depression or anxiety, or even an eating disorder, or maybe a picking disorder. Next, how about let's look at just conflict where there's just so much energy dealing with the conflict. So, because with conflict, we spend lots of time and energy managing the parent's conflict. So, this additional space in the children's minds and the energy needed to manage it makes their life more and more difficult and complicated. And what comes to mind for me, I was involved in a case where the father, who had more money than the mother, was willing to purchase his son a car. But the father did not want the mother to drive the car that he was going to purchase for the son. And the son knew that, and it caused him a lot of anxiety, and the poor kid had 2 jobs and was going to school full time. But in order to stay out of his parents' conflict, he ended up buying himself his own car. So another situation. So due to the conflict, again, children look for comfort and stability outside of their family and home. Okay, certainly dangerous when there's so much conflict. They find comfort in both positive and negative places. Comfort and stability is found with friends, another adult, a significant other, at school, or with drugs or alcohol. Home is supposed to be a safe place where you seek comfort, which then enables you to take greater positive risks and continue toward positive psychological health. But instead of being strengthened in the home, the child seeks it elsewhere, leading them to be vulnerable to addiction or to be taken advantage of by other people or to have other types of problems. So similar to the above, children may begin to create their own life away from their parents in various activities and friends as well. And when they do this, they also miss out on the social capital and other resources that a stable family provides. I mean, imagine what a family together, functioning well, doing things together, imagine how that kid benefits in comparison to a fragmented family. So children then miss out on their opportunities because they spend their energy avoiding the homes. And then certainly another negative scenario is both positive and negative, where children do redirect a lot of their energies into school, make wonderful grades, and become a star athlete. Now, parents will often tell me that, oh, my kid's fine, look how well they're doing, and look how they're not affected by the divorce. But very often, kids achieve, they get lost. Imagine yourself for some people that are listening to this, know that in times of stress, they work more to avoid what's happening. So kids can often do this too, or they want to get attention or have their parents get distracted, so they tend to overachieve as a result of their parents' conflict. Now, this reminds me of something that happened recently too, between a family that I've been helping in parenting coordination in the past. And I read this a couple months ago, this text that was really disturbing, but it was from a child who sent the text to her father and told her father she was really upset because she couldn't participate in a specific swimming event because the father was not giving money to the mother anymore, and the mother could no longer pay the bill for the country club. So certainly, how do you respond to that as the father? But for some reason, the child is getting messages like that, whether it's from the mother, indirectly, directly, or from some other experience, maybe from just the change in social capital, financial capital that's available, and she sees that her life has changed. So certainly this weighs heavy on a child because then it affects all the relationships with the kids and also their athletic opportunities and things like that, and social opportunities. But all the result of divorce. And then what I suggest to the parents, certainly they can't be sending this message to the children, but the hardest part is having people understand and accept that with divorce, with separation, there is an impact. Because once you were managing one home on one income, as you all know, or managing one home with 2 incomes, and then all of a sudden there are 2 homes that have to be managed. All right, let's keep moving. I have some exercises here in section 1, and you can write this stuff down or just contemplate about it. So What type of life do you want for your children? What are your goals and dreams for them? Is there anything that stands in the way of your children attaining what you want for them? How might your children be affected by conflict with your former partner or their family? Identify 3 or more positive outcomes that would happen for your children if there was less conflict. Identify 3 or more positive outcomes that would happen for you if there was less conflict. Imagine 3 to 5 years from now. Imagine that your child tells a close friend what you did to help them through the separation or divorce. What would you like them to say about you and your behavior? You may find that keeping these questions with you on an index card, notebook, tablet, or on your smartphone is a good reminder of what you need to do. However, you are probably feeling and thinking that you cannot do this alone without the joint effort of the other parent, and that the other parent is the cause of a lot of the conflict. The other parent may feel the same about you, but maybe they are the cause. But resigning yourself to years of conflict because the other parent is a pain and is difficult is not fair to you or your children. I want you to maintain the philosophy of remaining in your own lane and not necessarily worrying about what the other party did or is doing, unless, of course, they are putting the children in danger. In this course, further, you will learn what you can do to reach the positive outcomes that you've identified. What I want you to remember, is getting the other parent to change by request is likely not possible, but controlling your behavior is possible, and helping your child get what they need to adjust well to your separation and divorce is possible. Despite the other parent's behavior, it is worthy, and it will be noticed, and it feels good to create change by acting in ways that make you feel proud of yourself and for your child to feel proud of you despite the terrain in which you co-parent. Learning how to establish healthy boundaries can be daunting, but once established and followed, it will make life more predictable and peaceful in the long run. Okay, a couple takeaways. So research has shown that lowering conflict and providing good parenting are key to children adjusting and coping with separation and divorce. Kids that have functioned well or averagely prior to the separation and divorce typically adjust and cope again as long as their parents minimize conflict. Further, children with challenges prior to the divorce or separation fare much worse when their parents are steeped in conflict. What we know as divorce professionals is that one parent can make the difference. Divorce professionals often speak of children having at least one good enough parent. The research shows that this is true. So in this program, we're going to learn how conflict begins and how it's maintained, the impact of one parent's consistent measures to reduce conflict despite the other parent's behavior not to, and regarding how to make your own changes, which will bring peace into your life and into your children's or child's life.